All right, well, I want to welcome you all to our April Talks on Tuesday webinar today. We're so happy to have folks joining us, and it seems like some are still coming in. I'm really happy to have the opportunity to share Missy with you today. Missy knows she's one of my favorite PTs I worked with a long time ago here in my
Thank
area.
you.
So my name's Dana Childress. I'm one of the early intervention professional development consultants on Virginia's professional development team. And so I'll be kind of hosting the webinar today, but I'm going to turn it over to Missy, and then I'll help facilitate some Q&A. We have plenty of time built in today for you guys to ask questions about CATS, about the organization we're going to talk about durable medical equipment, get your, just share your insights and your stories. And we're going to use the chat to do that today. So Missy and I will be keeping a close eye on the chat. So today's webinar, like I said, is really an opportunity to do two things, I think. We're going to highlight a free resource available in Virginia that Missy really wanted to help people know about. And when I found out about it from Missy, it's a wonderful thing that I wish I'd have known about years ago. I wish it was available when I was a service coordinator. But we're also going to do that by also highlighting durable medical equipment, what's out there, how does this program work, how do kids get access to it. And one of the things I love is what can families do with equipment when their kids outgrow it? Because these little tiny ones get their equipment, and before you know it, they're ready to be sized up. So we're going to walk through that today. But again, we will have time as we do a highlight of the website so you can see what's available and how to access it. You'll have time to ask your questions about the equipment as well. So Missy will be a great resource for that today. So know that we're going to definitely have plenty of time to do that. So like I said, use your chat. We do have lines muted, so you'll just be hearing Missy and I, but feel free to use your chat. I think you actually have access to the reactions on your bar at the bottom. If you wanted to do that, we'll keep an eye on that too. Oh, I did want to also say that you have access to captioning. So if you would like to see the captioning, to see the transcript, you just hover your cursor at the bar at the bottom of your screen, and you will see the CC button. You can open that up and be able to watch the captions will appear on your screen. So know that that's accessible to you if that's helpful. I think that is it. Let me advance our slides and introduce Missy. So Dr. Missy Rose, I got to use that doctor in there, right? Missy
Still makes me giggle. Thank you.
I know, doesn't it? It's the best thing to hear. So Missy has been a physical therapist working in early intervention for many years. I know she was one of my go-to people when I worked in EI, and we collaborated on some of the kids right up until I left direct service, Missy. I remember my last boy we worked with. But Missy has been working in the field of early intervention for many years. She's working currently in, I think I wrote it down, Select Kids. Was it Select Kids? I just totally lost it.
Yeah.
Thank you. See, Misty, don't worry about it if you mess up. I did too. Select Kids, primarily with early intervention. Where I was getting hung up is Missy has lots of experience in other types of settings too. She's worked for Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters, which is kind of our go-to place in our area for children's medical needs, but in outpatient, inpatient, the rehabilitation clinic, the NICU, the PICU, home health, lots of different environments. So sees the work that we do with our children from lots of different perspectives. Missy is also an adjunct instructor with Old Dominion University in the physical therapy department, and currently the secretary on the board of directors for CATS, for Children's Assistive Technology Services, what we're going to highlight today. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do this with us, Missy. I'm going to mute my line, turn it over to you, and you just let me know how I can help as we're going along today.
Great. Thanks, Dana. So Dana already introduced me. So the hat that I'm wearing today is definitely going to be from CATS. So what we'd like to do before we start is if you could let us know what your background is. So if you could highlight, and Dana, what do they use to do that?
Yep, so you guys are going to access your annotation tool to drop a stamp or drop a little icon in the box that tells us which role you play, your primary role. So to access your annotation tool, you're going to hover at the top of your screen. It usually says viewing Dana Childress' screen, view options, something like that. Click the little downward caret and open up the drop-down menu. You will see in that menu the word annotate. Click on annotate, and then a bar will pop up that has the annotation tools. So you can see folks are starting to drop their hearts, their stars. These are stamps you can drop. You can also use the drawing tool. You could drop an arrow. And if you have any trouble with this, or you have multiple roles, feel free to put your information into the chat. So we'll just pause to let folks let us know who's in our audience, and then we will see who pops up. But remember, you have the chat box if you struggle with the annotation tools at all. So Missy, it looks like we've got a good mix of people here.
That's awesome.
We've got leaders, physical therapists. We have, looks like a couple of speech language pathologists, occupational therapists, lots of service coordinators, which is wonderful because this will help you guys know who to connect families to. All right, I'm going to, let's see, I think we've got everybody. Nobody's in the chat, so I'm going to clear the screen.
Okay.
And then we are going to keep going.
Great.
You guys will want to X out of your annotation tool so that the horizontal bar at the top where you see the little red X, make sure you click that. Otherwise, there'll be stars and hearts dropping the whole rest of the presentation. So, all right, here we go.
All right, so let me start by saying CATS stands for Children's Assistive Technology Services. It's just much easier to say CATS than that whole mouthful. Our mission from CATS, as you can see up here, is that we want to help children that have physical and developmental disabilities that affect their movement, their communication skills, their behavior, so that they can have better outcomes. We want to help kids be fully functional as best they can in their school, out in the community. And what we do is we take in gently used equipment, we clean it, fix it, and then redistribute it to folks that are either waiting for their equipment, that don't have insurance to get equipment, or as a trial so that people can try things before they go through the process of insurance to purchase a specific piece of equipment. And we're here to help educate and help teachers, clinicians, caregivers. We want everybody to know that we're out there so that you guys can utilize our services. So before I go on, if you guys could take this quick poll, who knows about CATS? Are you familiar with it? Have you used it? Have you never heard of us?
Okay, so you will see a poll pop up on your screen, this poll box, their familiarity poll, and you will see 3 options that match what you just saw on screen. So click your option and then click submit. We'll wait a couple seconds to let folks do that, and then we'll publish the poll so everybody can see the results. You guys are on it. You're getting your answers into the poll pretty quickly.
Awesome.
Let's go ahead and publish the poll, Seth. Okay, so yeah, you go for it, Missy.
All right, very good. Okay, so we're kind of we kind of have a mix of everything. So that's awesome. I'm glad that those who haven't heard or don't know much about it, I'm really glad that you're here so that you can learn about it. And those who are familiar with us, if we have time, I would love for you to share your stories, your success stories. Feel free to put them in the chat, or if we have extra time at the end, we can have folks tell some of their success stories. So let's go ahead and jump in. So some examples of assistive technology. Let's put some things in the chat other than the walker, a bath seat, and a computer, a keyboard. What are some things that you've seen children use that would be considered assistive technology? And it can be in any of these categories. And we're not going to take too long. So if you can just pop some stuff right into the chat, right? A stander, that's great. A wheelchair, bath chairs, perfect. Gait trainers, walkers, activity chairs. Awesome. Thank you to those who jumped in. All right, so that's absolutely right. And we at CATS have a variety of things that will help kids in all of these areas. So let's go to the next slide. So what I've done is I've used some of my kiddos that I'm working with to show how we've used some of CATS's equipment to help them become more mobile. So to become more adaptive, this little girl has SMA, which is spinal muscle atrophy. And 30 years ago, when I started working in physical therapy, kids her age sometimes were already in wheelchairs and getting help with breathing. And now the new medicine has come so far that we are actually working on walking. And This little girl used a Rift and Gait trainer that I brought to her house, and she used it for about 6 weeks. And I am happy to say that she is now walking all by herself throughout her house, which is just beyond excitement for me because I had no idea of the capabilities that this little girl was going to have. So never limit your kiddos, always shoot for the stars. And hopefully at CATS, we can help you if you need equipment to do that. So for her, it got her interested in walking because it was able to support her until she could gain some strength. So let's go to the next one. And so again, the equipment that we use at CATS is not just for them to get around and walk, but it's so that they can play with their friends, that they can participate in school and just with social life with their family in the house and in the community. That top picture is again of Journey, and this was from a program called Go Baby Go. We used to have classes that would teach therapists how to take a standard off-the-shelf electric car and convert it so that it was all hand controls, so the child didn't need foot pedals. And since COVID, we haven't had any classes, but we're hoping that we'll be able to restart that again. Dr. Galloway at the University of Delaware is actually the person who started this program, and they've done several of therapists from that program have come and helped us. And now through some of the different DME companies, they have helped run these classes as well. And as we get this equipment, not only if we have classes, but we have folks redonate them because their child has outgrown them and now other kids can use them. And it's a great way to get kids up and moving. There are lots of studies that show the earlier we get kids moving, the more motivated they are to try and move. So even if it's not with them walking. So like in this one, Journey was able to just steer and push the red button and that car would go, while her sister was in, her twin was in another regular car that she got as a birthday present. So now they each had their own electric cars, and Journey could keep up with her sister, which doesn't happen very often. So that was really exciting for us to be able to provide for her. And in the bottom, you can see that's a stander. For those that don't know what that is, that's actually a mobile stander. So that's helping a little girl actually stand up and decorate her Christmas tree. And to me, that's one of the best things we can do, is help normalize and make life more typical for our kids so that they can participate in their everyday life with their family. So bottom line is we want to have all of our kids independent. Doctors like to see letters of medical necessity if the therapist has. Exactly. And one of the things that CATS allows for is for us to trial equipment. So in our letter of medical necessity, we can say we have trialed this type of mobile stander and the child has been successful in it. And a lot of times that will also really help insurance companies to get approval for that, because we know it's going to work. Okay, so let's go to the next screen. So we have lots of guiding principles at CATS, but the one that I just wanted to share with everybody is that, you know, children with disabilities are first and foremost, they're children, and they should have the same rights, the needs, and dreams of all children. And as you can see in those other examples, we really have equipment that can help kids just participate in everyday life. So we have, when we get to our website, you can see all the other principles if you're interested, but this is the main one that I wanted to highlight. So here's another example of how getting mobility going at a very early age really helps our little kids. So this is my friend Paul, and Paul has spina bifida. He actually had surgery in utero, and he has mobility. He is able to roll. He is able to move his legs, but he's still very weak. And we're working on strengthening, and we're shooting for the stars that he is going to walk one day. And we wanted him to still have independent mobility at this early age so that he could keep up with his brother and just move around the house like a typical toddler. So what I have here is 3 videos. The first one, Paul was just about, I want to say 14 months. And then the next video is a little bit, I think it's 2 months later. And this video is like another month or 2 after that, where he actually got his wheelchair and he already knew how to use it because of what he was already doing at home. And for those that don't know, this little wheelchair that he's in the first video is called a Scoot. And it's great because it's low to the ground, so kids can work on getting in and out of it by themselves. So I'm going to be quiet now, and Dana is going to play our 3 videos just so you can see in a short period of time. This is probably within 6 months from start to finish. And he is not 2 yet. So I just wanted to say that again. He is not 2. He is still a little guy, and look at what he can do. I'm really proud of him. All right, Dana, I'm going to be quiet now.
There you go. Go get her. A kiss. One more. Do one more. One more. One more.
One more.
Do another one.
One more.
There you go. Yay!
Okay, that is just the best ever. The kiss at the end, I just gotta say.
I know. And they're such a great family. And again, the family really has to be the ones who work on this, an hour or 2 of physical therapy a week or OT or speech. You know, we really need the parents to buy in, and having them have the ability to work on this stuff in their home just during regular family time. It's just a great thing.
Well, look at it. I guess this is his mom that he was going to. Look at her face. Her face her face is glowing.
And this was really the first time he's been independent moving at all. And I want you to notice in all of these pictures, he is on tile or, hardwood floors, but you need to know that he can now move this Scoot all over carpeted floors. So even though it's also getting him to move, we are really building shoulder girdle strength, hand grip. There's so many positives. Vestibular stimulation. There's just so many positives. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet again. Let's go to the middle one.
Yeah, you know what I was thinking too, Missy, is that like it's opening up learning opportunities for him too, because he can explore, he can go over the carpet, he can go to the, from the kitchen to the washroom or whatever now that he can get there. So that's cool. So I will be quiet too, and we'll play the second one. I know.
How much faster he's going. I'm so proud of him.
Zoom.
And so look at the skill, like that was over just a month or 2. And now the other funny thing that I have to say is now they had to lock all of their cabinets that are low because he likes to empty everything. So he never had that ability before. So now he can also just be a typical toddler. So it's another exciting thing. So after being in his Scoot for about 4 months, his wheelchair arrived. So this was when he actually picked it up. And so I'm just so proud of him because the folks that issued his wheelchair didn't really have to do much except put him in it and make sure he fit. So go ahead and play the last video.
Hi, Paul.
This is a good way to end my day. I was getting push. Come on.
Get her.
Yay!
And he's so proud of himself.
Oh, goodness, you're so cute. Hey, Dad, don't worry. It will fit me. My feet will touch on a real one. You're an expert.
Where's Nana? Where's Nana?
Where is she?
Good turning.
You get an A+.
So, I mean,
Wow.
I'm so full of pride. I'm just so excited for this little guy because now he can go where he wants to go. And moving for little kids can be so motivating, and it really changes their whole life, because we had such a hard time finding things that were motivating for him to participate in therapy. And once you find that key, once you find that little thing that makes kids excited, it just opens that whole world up, because then you can use that to do the things that you need them to do. And they're doing it because they want to, and they're playing, not because they have to and we're making them. So please think about cats when you have, don't worry about how young the kids are. We really want to get kids early to start mobility. And it really also helps with self-esteem. And that's so important to me, because I really feel that kids' self-esteem begins so early. I'm talking just a couple months old. And when they start believing in themselves, you just can't limit them, because they're going to do it. And that's what's happening with Paul right now. And we'll get off of Paul in 1 second, but I just have to share that we're now working on standing up and cruising. And at his visit last week, he sat in his cube chair that he also got from cats, and he was able to put his hands on the couch, and he stood himself up. And yes, I shed a few tears, because I just am so excited for him. And he did it all because he wanted to get a toy, not because I said, okay, Paul, it's time to stand up. So this little guy is going places, and I'm just really excited to be part of it.
Yeah, Missy and Tracy made a good point, kind of going along with what you just said in the chat, that the positive mental health implications for the child and the parent to see this kind of progress, and to see, to like adjust their vision of him, that yeah, he's moving, we're going to find a way for him to move. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. So these are some of my success stories, and now we're going to go, and I think the next slides, oh, I have one more. Okay, this is my friend Isha, and you see that's for everybody that doesn't know, this is a K posture walker. And just a quick background, Isha was born in India, and she was in an orphanage. And unfortunately, this little girl, there were many babies at this orphanage, and she was sedated for most of her day. She was awake to eat her meals, and then basically she slept most of her days away, because there weren't enough caregivers to take care of all the kids in the orphanage. And a family went and adopted her. So when we started it's about a year and 3 months ago, Isha was 2 years and I think 5 months old. She was still working on head control. She wasn't rolling. She wasn't sitting. We were working on reaching. Her hands mainly stayed fisted. And so we started, from the ground up, but she was 2.5 and I needed to get her up and going. So one of the things that we used was this K posture walker. And we are now about a year, I think I said a year and a couple months post since we started. And she's using this K posture walker for long distances. She doesn't need any help to steer it or control it. She actually can pick it up and go up and down curves. But during therapy, we're actually working on walking independently. And for her self-confidence is still something we're really working hard on, because she's just so afraid to not have somebody help her. So the fact that she can use the walker without somebody's hands on her has been a great confidence builder. And she can now take about 10 independent steps by herself. But I know this walker is not going to be long-term, so we're borrowing it. And when they're done, they're going to return it to cats and let somebody else use it. All right, let's move on. So Cats has 4 locations, and just so you can see, we have Marion, Roanoke, Richmond, and Hampton Roads. And the storage for Marion and Roanoke are all together, so there's one inventory for them. We don't have anything at this time in Northern Virginia, but hopefully as we continue to grow, we'll grow more sites. The one thing you should know is, though, it doesn't matter where the inventory is. It can be shipped from one site to another. and then it can be picked up at whatever is the closest to you. So that's, and just so that you know, we just opened a brand new Hampton Roads site. Cats was housed at Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters, which I will now just say CHKD, for those of you that don't know. And we are really excited because we had equipment that first off, we were very blessed that CHKD allowed us to keep the equipment there for so long. We were supposed to be there for 2 or 3 years, and we wound up there for 5. So we really appreciate all that they've done to help our program grow. And now we have a building at 900 Granby Street, and we have all of our inventory in one place. And we can accept inventory, we clean it, we fix it, we wash it, and then it goes on our clean shelves, and that's where therapists or parents can come to pick it up. So just really excited about that, because we're literally March 1st was the first day our lease went into effect. So, okay, let's go to the next page. Palo Wheels. So this is another program that CATS does. And again, we just want to help make kids with disabilities feel as typical as possible. And so one of the things every year we have this is one of our fundraisers, and we supply PVC and the equipment that goes with it to parents that sign up, and they can create costumes around their child's mobility. So it's not all these pictures are of wheelchairs, but we've had folks that have made all kinds of things that go right onto their walkers or their standers, their mobile standers. And then they go trick-or-treating just like everybody else. And how Palo Wheels works is on our website, we have folks with pictures like these, and then we ask the public to vote, and each vote is $1, and that's how we raise our money, because we are a non-for-profit, and that's how we keep our organization going. So next October, look on the CATS website so that you can help vote for some of our kids. The costumes and the parents, they are amazing. And the smiles on our kids' faces, just, it says it all. Look at these smiles. Like, doesn't that just make you feel good? And I'm looking up on the website and or on the chat, and I see it's amazing to getting the equipment closer. The wheelchair vendors will even do pickups for you. Absolutely. Along those same lines, if you live in Tidewater or Richmond, the CHKD thrift shop will also pick up equipment from patients and bring it to CATS. And that's a relationship that, even though we're not going to be housed at CHKD any longer, they are still going to keep that relationship with us. So parents can just call the thrift store and ask them to pick it up, which is great because some of the equipment is pretty big. And then, is it possible to visit one of the CAT sites to check it out? Absolutely. And on our website that we're going to go through in just a minute, you'll be able to see where they're located, and there are contact people that you can get in touch with to go see. And I can tell you for Hampton Roads, you can always contact me and I can meet you there. But on May 10th, that will be the 757 Gives. And we're going to have an open house from 11 to 6, I believe, so that parents, therapists, teachers, educators, service coordinators, whoever would like to see who we are can come. It's a quick tour, and any donations are incredibly appreciated because that's how we keep our organization running. All right, let's keep going. So how do we get our equipment clean? We have what's called scrubs, and those usually happen in Richmond and Roanoke and Marion. And we have local universities that will take their PT, OT, and speech departments, and they will volunteer their time there for a day, which is not only helpful for cats, but it's really helpful for therapists, because a lot of equipment you don't get that knowledge in school. That's all in after continuing ed. So the folks that are working at CATS can go over all of the different types of equipment that's out there, which is really helpful for students. I know now that we have our own site in Hampton Roads, I will be bringing my ODU class that I teach for peds, and they will come and be able to have the same opportunities. We won't do full scrubs like they do in the other locations, because we don't have a full-blown wash station like they do. But we will have the ability to have few folks come in at a time to volunteer in lots of various ways. So we just want you to know there are opportunities if you want to volunteer, and that is also located on the website, and you'll see a whole section for how can I volunteer or how can I help. So great question, Kimberly. And that's exactly, you are more than welcome to visit our sites. So this is what the website looks like. And if you go to Google, all you have to type in is Children's Assistive Technology Services, and you will see our logo, and it will take you right to our link. And we are actually going to do that live now. And I'm going to walk everybody through the link. So hopefully this is going to work smooth. All right, so when you get onto the link, onto the page, this is what you're going to see. So we have our home page, we have about, we have inventory, get involved, questions, our annual report, and how to contact us. And that's all on the top toolbar that you can see. But what I really wanted to show you today was how you guys can utilize inventory. And let me, before we go there, let me just say one more thing. It doesn't matter if you are a PT, OT, or speech, service coordinators, teachers, parents can all look at this inventory. You can all request this inventory, but for any equipment that needs to be fitted, you will need to have some type of therapist that's going to help with that fitting. And well, we're going to go through it in the inventory and we'll order something, but if we need to order something and we don't see a therapist name attached to the request, the folks in our offices do call the parents to find out if they have a therapist, and making sure that it's the right piece of equipment, because we don't fit the equipment because we don't have the staff to do that. But we usually can get somebody hooked up with the child. If they don't have one, we can help them talk to their doctor to get a therapist involved. So let's go to inventory. And we'll start with Hampton Roads, since that's where I am. And hopefully, oh good, it's moving quick. So as you can see, Dana, if you can just kind of scroll through it, there are lots of categories that we have equipment in, and you can see it actually says how many are in each section. So for bathing and toileting, there's 12. For standers, there's 8. We have a whole communication library. We have recreational equipment, and that I always recommend looking at multiple sites, because whatever we have in any of them, again, can be transported. And I know in Hampton Roads right now, we have lots of walkers and wheelchairs. So let's start. I'm going to open the chat up, look at the categories, and what would somebody like to look for? So it could be anything. And we'll just give you guys a quick second for somebody to request. And then we can open that category. All right, bathing, perfect. Okay, oh, awesome. Okay, so we got a couple things we're gonna look at, and we will look at all 3 of those things. So we're gonna stay in Hampton Roads, and we're gonna open the bathing and toileting. So now what you'll see is you can go through all of the things that we have, and I'm actually the one that is putting the inventory in. So you'll see not definitions, I'm having a loss of words, but you'll see what the name of the chair is, and you'll see the size on them. And let's go down a little bit further. let's pick the Starfish, either one, and we're just going to open that up. And it's going to take you to this page. So now you can see I've put in, it's made by Tumbleform. This is a size 1 and the user height that this benefits for, and the weight limit. So, and on this one, the only thing that it has is a pelvic stabilizer, and it's hard to see in the picture, but basically that's a strap that's just going across the waist. It's kind of like a seat belt. So for this piece of equipment, you'll see that there is no asterisk on the bottom in here saying that we need a therapist, because there is nothing to size or fit on this. Basically, if the weight works, then you know that the child will fit in there. A parent can request this by hitting the request. We can open that request equipment. And hopefully it'll open. Yep, there we go. And then you'll see the total is 0. We are always asking for, this is where we ask for donations. So it can be anything from $1 to $5. We talk about any donation helps. So we ask parents if they can do that. If they can't, there's no pressure. That's all we do. And then we can proceed to checkout, and you'll see it says 0. And then what it does is it goes through billing details. And in this, what you would do is you would put your name, your last name, company name. So if it was myself, I would put all of my information. I would put select kids because that's who I'm representing. And then after I fill all that out, my email address, and then I would answer the questions. Do I want to donate? And go down a little bit further. It'll talk about terms and conditions. And after you read that, you click it, you place your order, and then it will go to our CATS office in Hampton Roads. And then from there, you will get a confirmation that they received your order. And when the donation is ready and staged for you to pick up, then you are able to do that. So let's go back now, and we'll go into something that you do need a therapist for. So let's go to Roanoke this time. We'll go down to inventory. And let's see, somebody else said communication. So let's go to their communication tab. Let's see, there you go. So they have 21 things in their library. And you can see that a lot of these are going to go to existing systems already, or they're just standard buttons where you can have one thing that you can program to say yes or no. We have toys. There's toys there that can you can hit the button and make the toy work, where you can see that for the little lamb. And just so that you can go down a little bit further, Dana, I just want to point out there's a 1, 2, and 3. Just make sure you're going through all of the pages, because it does look like there's only 9 pieces, but we do have 21 pieces. And for kids that are having a hard time with mobility or occupation, with fine motor skills, make sure you're going through the communication sections as well as the therapy equipment, because sometimes just adaptive toys can really motivate our kids. And it's that one thing, you guys know, it's that one thing when we find that key, it really helps our kids to start unlocking their movement and wanting to participate. So these are some of the options for communication. Let's go to inventory again. And this time, let's go to Richmond. And I see that Kathy wanted one that said Scoot. So we're just going to go to where their wheelchair inventory is. So let's go to wheelchairs and strollers. and you can see how much they have. 30 different pieces. So each place has, each item has the name of the equipment, and then you can pick any of those and we'll open it up. So while this is opening, we don't have the ability to have somebody come to CATS to browse and pick up that item that day. That's why we have it all online, because we don't have full-time staff there. Everything is set up by appointments, and everything you would see there, you'll see online. So now this goes into a little bit more detail. So this is a Kai mobility, and for the maximum weight here is 165 pounds. It talks about the seat width, the depth, the height, and the back, and all of these are adjustable within a few inches. And I know when I do the inventory for Hampton Roads, sometimes I'll put the range if I have that information. But just know that there's usually plus or minus 2 to 3 inches on each side of the numbers for growth. And then underneath where it says the height, it's also telling you what extra equipment is on the chair. So there's a Whitmire padded and contoured headrest, which is right at the top. It has brake extenders. So for a child that needs that extra length so that they can lock their own chair. There's a footrest with a soft shoe cuff. So that's going to help hold their feet on there. A J cushion seat. So it's soft. So that helps with pressure. Fixed laterals, that's on the side to help them stay in the middle. They have side guards. A tie down is so that it can go on a school bus or in a van, that it can be locked in and a child can sit in there safely for transportation. And a comfort cushion back, so along the back. So you can see this wheelchair has extras on it. So anything that's not standard will be put on there and will be labeled. And then, as you can see, this equipment must be recommended and fit by a professional. And we definitely will follow up if a parent orders this and the parent does not put the name of the therapist and their phone number, they will get a phone call. It won't just be automatically given. And if you, you can hit the request equipment. And you'll see that there's a place for comments. And if it's a lot of times it's the therapist that's requesting this, but honestly, what I like to do is have the parent do it with me. So that way, if they would like to make a donation, they can. Yep, go ahead and proceed to checkout. But also this is a joint effort and I'm not just doing it for them. They are learning about the equipment and looking at the different options and then discussing it with the therapist. And where it says order notes, that's where the therapist can give all that extra, or the parent can put the therapist name, any measurements that are specific that the therapist would like the person at CATS to know. That way they can double check to make sure if it is the right piece of equipment going to them. Any questions about this before we move on?
Missy, I had a question. When we were back on the communication section, beside the item, it said, I think, Roanoke local residents only. So does that mean that library is only available to people in Roanoke? So like if somebody in Hampton Roads saw something on that library, could they still request it? Is I guess what I'm
Great
wondering.
question. So CATS was just given a grant to work, and it's actually an early intervention grant for communication, and that was specific for Roanoke and Marion, but every location has things under communication, and I would still I would still request it, and we can see if because I don't know if it's the entire library, and that's a great question. I can find the answer to that, or if it's specific items from that.
Okay, it sounds like it's still worth requesting and
absolutely.
Okay.
And oh, I see that now. I did not notice that before. And I know that for communication devices, and can you go to the one in Hampton Roads, because that also, we have I think it's TTAC that has a library that we can also tap into. But I don't know. Yeah, it's not specific on here, so anybody can use it. But the one thing we do need to know about communication devices is that they are on loan for 3 months at a time. So because they tend to not have a variety and they're not turned in as often, it's usually a trial time, and that gives therapists, enough time to work with the child to determine if that's a really good piece of equipment for the child to order. So that is one thing you should know. The other thing that's important to note is that we try and limit the number of pieces to 3 a year. If somebody needs something more than that, though, it's on a case-by-case basis. Now, once you request something other than communication devices, that is yours until you're done using it. And we just request that if it is still gently used, that you would give another child that opportunity to use that equipment as well. Turn it in. We take it apart. I mean, we take down to the casters. We take everything apart, from the wheelchairs, the materials, anything that can come apart comes apart. Everything else is scrubbed with hospital grade disinfectant before anybody else is using it. So did that answer that question?
Yeah, it did. And it when you were talking about breaking down the equipment, it made me wonder too. And you guys feel free to put your comments in chat too. We're going to be watching that. But it made me, you said about the delivery of the equipment, I guess. So if somebody requests something, say it's in Roanoke, it gets transported to Hampton Roads, then the family would need to come to the place on Granby Street to pick it up correctly. You don't deliver to the homes.
Correct. We don't deliver to the homes, but you either the parent or the therapist.
Okay.
I know if I am down in Norfolk, I'll just swing by and pick it up, because as the therapist, I'm the one that's going to fit them anyway to the equipment.
Yeah.
But I have had folks where I just couldn't get down there before my visit, so I had the parents go get it. And they brought it home knowing that they did not use it until I got there, and we made sure that it fit appropriately. The nice thing is, when you're ready to return it, or you're done because you've ordered the piece of equipment through the insurance company and you're getting a brand new one, you can just call the thrift store and they will come pick it up and take it back for you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Do you know if the other areas have a pickup situation like that, or you said the CHKD thrift store will do that in Hampton Roads, but if you
in Richmond, I know in Hampton Roads
okay.
and Richmond, I don't know about I don't know if they have facilities all the way up in Roanoke. That's another question I'd have to find out.
Well, that's okay. But I mean, I think it sounds like if it's a parent or a service coordinator out in that area,
yes,
you could ask the CAT staff, say, well, how do I get this to the family? How is this
absolutely?
And you guys will support that. Okay.
Absolutely. And we do, especially for like service coordinators out there, sometimes parents will talk to you guys and let you know, like, oh God, bathing is so hard. And if there's a speech therapist or a PT or an OT in there, and that it just doesn't come up in conversation, that the service coordinators or educators or any of the other therapists can collaborate and say, hey, I know about this program where there are bath chairs that might make it easier for the parent and safer for the child. So I hope that you all can feel part of the team, that anybody can utilize this and look through the inventory and make suggestions, because we want to look at the child as a whole, and everybody should work together. And the more we work together, it's just better for the child in general.
Yeah,
in humble opinion.
Great point. I love it that you brought in the service coordinators, because sometimes they have the knowledge of the resources to make sure the rest of the team has those. That also made me think of another question, Missy, about donation of equipment. So say your child a child gets the equipment, the scoot grows out of it after a couple of months, or upgrades to the real wheelchair. If a family says they want to donate equipment, how does maybe the service coordinator or the PT help them do that with you guys?
Right. And that also is on the website. So you can go to contact and you can call the area that's closest to you. And you can let them know that, hey, I have this stander and it is still in working condition. Where can I bring it? And you can see that there are different names and emails for the different locations. So if you don't want to talk to somebody, you can do everything through email and just shoot a message. And usually it's within 24 hours, you'll get a response back. And then they can help you problem solve that.
Okay, perfect. Because this seems like the kind of thing that needs to perpetuate itself, right? So,
Right.
pay it forward if a family is able to do it. I was telling Missy, you guys, before we logged on, that my father used an electric wheelchair before he passed away. And when he died, I was like, somebody can use this. And I didn't know what to do with it. And she said, there's more places like Cats for Adults than Children. Cats is unique for kids. But I actually worked through the thrift store to get his wheelchair to somebody, hopefully to somebody who needed it. So it's such a resource to know what's out there, because it's impossible to know everything that's out there. So this being able to search through the inventory is educational too, but then to be able to have a free resource to sort of share these kinds of things seems like what a great thing for families. I vividly remember working with a family once, Missy, who was trying to figure out how to fund a wheelchair for their 2-year-old, because insurance was, I can't remember what the situation was now, if insurance was only going to pay a certain amount of it, maybe because of their deductible. So the mother was looking at grants, and meanwhile time is going by that this little guy didn't have access to a mobility, and he was a tall toddler. So to carry him, it was just a lot to figure out. So I think if something like this would have been available and the equipment that matched his need would have been available to borrow, just like you said with Paul, he could have started that journey sooner until it took the time to be able to afford the final wheelchair.
And think about the independence that gives to Paul. Like there's no learned helplessness with that. If he wants to get somewhere and he's in his scoot, mom says, you go. You go get it. And with some of our kids that don't have that equipment, it is easy for them to just rely on everybody else. And so the earlier we can get kids feeling like they can be independent with anything, that really does help empower them. And that I'm all about that. Empower those kids, let them feel like they can do it. Now, there are some things that Cats does not have. And I do want to mention that we don't, and I think, we might have that on a slide, but we don't, I think it's right under this one. Go up.
You're right.
Right there. We don't have adaptive beds. We don't have stair lifts, full-size ramps. We don't have respiratory items. We don't have food or any kind of nutritional support items, and we don't carry diapers. So those are some questions that we've had from parents, and just so that, if folks wanted to donate those things, we are not the right folks to donate them to. So I just did want to make that clear. But anything else we have taken in. And I know we left the website, but I did want to mention that under recreation, we have had wheelchairs for the beach that have the big giant tires, so that kids can get on the beach and go in the water. We have bikes that are donated all the time that are tricycles. So I would just say my best recommendation is go explore the website, because even being out in the field for 32 years, there are new pieces of equipment I'm seeing every time. And I'm thankful that I'm putting the inventory in Hampton Roads, because I have learned so much about what's out there, because there's just not enough hours in the day to research everything. At least in my life.
That's what I was thinking. It's this just being able to kind of look through the inventory. And I think for like educators, like, when I worked, I knew less about what was out there than you would have, at least for me, because that wasn't an area of expertise that I had. So being able to look is helpful too. There is another question in the chat. Missy Kimberly asks, are there devices for visually or hearing impaired children in the inventory?
And right before we went live, Dana and I were actually looking on the communication site, and I know that there are light boxes in one of the areas, and I'm pretty sure that was under the communication, because there's switches that go with it. So I would say yes to that, but I would definitely just look through the inventory. And if you're not sure, you can always contact one of those folks that were under the contact or shoot an email. Do you ever get this type of equipment in? And here's the thing. Last month alone, I put in 26 pieces of equipment. The month before that was 46. So every month we're turning equipment, we're getting equipment in and we're turning it over. I was at the new site on last Friday, and we had 12 Riften chairs come in from a preschool that was done using them. So like we've got that, they have to be cleaned. That is one of the things before they can go in the inventory. But if you're looking for a preschool toddler size chair, look under the Hampton Roads site in the next week or two, because there's a whole classroom worth of, I think there were 13. It was like a clown car. Some lady donated them and she just kept taking them out of her car. I'm like, oh my God, how many more do you have? It honestly was quite funny. So, you know, there's always those things. Also, trip trap chairs, and I know that's hard to say, trip trap chairs are quite expensive. And I can tell you, I was able to get one that was turned in a couple weeks ago for one of my other patients. So again, they don't come in often, but keep looking. And I would say, look once a week if you're looking for something specific. I know, say that 3 times fast. If you're looking for something specific, because you never know when it's going to come in. And where is the Hampton Roads new site? It is for those of you who've been in Hampton Roads for a while. It is the old channel. It's at the old Channel 33 building at 900 Granby. And this site has feel goods for me, because that's actually where I started my career with CHKD and their first outpatient site, which was on the 2nd floor of the television station. And so now we're actually using the studio that was no longer being used. That's where our things are. And what's really nice is it's got a great parking area, and we have a door, because we're on the 1st floor, that leads right into our warehouse. So parents don't need to go in. They don't need to get escorted. There's no elevator. They don't, you just come right in and the car is going to be right there. So it's a great site. And again, that's 900 Granby Street.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking at our time, Kim. We got about 3 minutes left. I know. Do you want to watch the parting video, which is a great thing, great message to wrap up with?
That would be great. And thank you. I really appreciate you guys all taking the time to come listen. And for those that have used it, thank you so much. And please share the word, because we're here for the kids. And that's the bottom line, is we just want to help our kids, be as functional as possible.
Awesome. What Karen M says, I've gotten so much equipment to families and they're always so grateful for what CATS does. So that's wonderful. I'm going to play the video so you guys hang out. I think it's like a minute long, and then I will pull up Missy's information. So you'll have that and a little bit of information to wrap us up today. So let me get this come up. Here we go. There we go. It's so cute. I want to play it again.
I know it makes my face hurt from smiling.
I know it was cute hearing you giggle about it. So there's lots of great stuff popping up in the chat as I pull up the PowerPoint in just a second, Missy. It looks like lots of people are saying they're going to share it with their team. It's awesome. So let me
That's
see.
great.
There we go. So I wanted you guys to see that in there. Here's Missy's contact information. If you want to grab her email, or if you want to type your email maybe into the chat while I'm wrapping up, Missy, that would be great. So you guys can follow up with Missy later. You're also welcome to reach out to me and I can forward it to Missy if that's easy to. I can put my email in there in a second. And then we wanted to, as we're wrapping up, just let you know to be sure it's probably already in your inbox. Check your inbox today for a feedback survey link. Take the survey and then you will have access to your certificate of completion for this hour of professional development. You just need to download your certificate. Make sure you download it and keep it. And it'll update with it'll have our date on it. Thank you, Corey, for putting my email in chat. So you'll have documentation of today. So before we do call it, I want to thank Missy so much for sharing the information today and providing, you guys with all this great information about the equipment that's available and a resource where you can get it at Tiara. Awesome job. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks, Seth, for creating such a great PowerPoint presentation. I appreciate that too, Seth. So Missy, again, thanks so much. Seth gives us a thumbs up. I appreciate it. If you guys have any last questions, you can type them into chat. We'll keep it open for another minute or two, but otherwise have a wonderful rest of your day.